Hey ExJW, thanks again for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, my name is Riley and I am a former Jehovah's Witness. Before we get into today's video, I just want to apologize that it's been such a long while since I've uploaded. Things in my life have been really hectic recently. Good news is I recently became engaged to my fiancée Marsha. So we're busy making wedding plans and all of that stuff. So yeah, I've been really busy. I also want to say a massive and heartfelt thank you to everyone who has been supporting the channel through Patreon and through other means, especially since YouTube demonetized me. It really helps and I honestly can't thank you enough. If you're not yet supporting the channel but would like to, there are links in the video description below on how you can do that. Okay, so now for today's video. I have a Jucket list update for you. If you're not familiar with the concept of my Jucket list, it's my JW bucket list. So it's a list of things that I want to do now that I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness that I couldn't do when I was a Jehovah's Witness. And if you haven't seen the first video in my Jucket list series, I'll leave a link to it up there. So this update is all about donating blood. I recently signed up to the blood donors register and I received my first appointment and I went along to the clinic to donate blood. I recorded the whole experience for your viewing pleasure, so here it is. So today I get to check off another item on my Jucket list. I am going to donate blood for the very first time. I'm really excited about it. The clinic is not too far from here, about half an hour. So I'm just gonna go and quickly get ready and then make my way there. So I'm on my way to the clinic now. I thought I'd walk there as it's not raining and I need to get my steps in. So I apologize in advance for the noise of the traffic and such. But while I'm on my way there, I thought I'd just spend some time talking about why I'm doing this. So, as most of you will know, Jehovah's Witnesses do not accept blood transfusions or donate blood. And according to witness doctrine, blood is sacred because it represents life. Also, there's a scripture in the Bible that says to keep abstaining from blood. So when that scripture was written, it was speaking about eating blood or eating foods that contained blood, not about medical procedures involving blood, but witnesses see it as the same thing. So the command to abstain from blood in their doctrine applies also to blood transfusions. Now, I believed this when I was a witness. I know differently now, but a good friend of mine who you may be familiar with, his name's Jake. He runs the Alt Worldly channel here on YouTube. He explained this in a way that I just never ever thought about it before. So he says that so blood represents life and life is precious, fair enough, but in a life or death situation, sacrificing someone's life for the sake of blood doesn't make any sense. That's like putting more value on a wedding ring than the marriage that the ring represents. And it blew me away when I heard him say that, because I'd never looked at it that way before, but it makes so much sense. I have no problem with life or blood being precious. Of course they are. Of course life is precious. And if blood represents life, then blood is precious too. But what is more precious? The thing, or the thing that represents the thing? You know? And also it's, oh goodness me, you'll never guess what I've just seen. So I'm on my way to the clinic and there's a big sign I'll see if I can get it in shot. Look at that. Look at what it says on that post. Well, that's definitely not where I'm going. Oh boy. Anyway, so yeah, the way Jake explains it makes so much sense, and it was really profound that he was the one to open my eyes to that. I mean, my eyes were open to the blood thing before that, but he opened my eyes to it in a different way, and even more so for the fact that he was ill not too long ago. He has an ongoing medical condition, and he actually needed a blood transfusion recently, and if he didn't have that, he would have died, you know. And when I heard him speak about this, that's when I decided that I was going to go and donate blood, you know, because, you know, he's someone I have a lot of respect for, you know, and he's a friend, and you know, he would be gone. He literally would be gone. So I thought to myself, if I can help in any way to prevent someone else from, you know, potentially losing their life, you know, in a medical emergency, then I should do that. So that's why I decided to donate blood, and that's why I'm on my way there now. And it's funny how when you're a witness, you think that you're such a good person, and such a nice person, but there's a difference between being good and being polite. You know, witnesses are very polite. Very, very polite. But in all honesty, I don't think they're good. Through no fault of their own. I'm sure they want to be, and a vast majority of them are, you know, nice people. I can only count on one hand the amount of witnesses that I've come into contact with that I'd say are horrible people. Very, very few. You know, but witnesses lack empathy. And it's not because they have a character flaw as individuals, it's because the doctrine requires them to lack empathy. Because all they think about is Jehovah fixes things in the future. And it means that they care very little about the present or the people in it. They just defer it to somebody else to sort out. And anyone who thinks like that is inherently going to be is inherently going to lack empathy for the situation of people around them. They just think, oh, don't worry about that, Jehovah will sort it out in the future, Jehovah will sort it out in the future. Now that I know that Jehovah is not going to sort out anything in the future because he doesn't exist, I care a lot more about what is happening now, not just to me, but to other people. And I know I'm not alone in that. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm almost there. I'll catch you afterwards. So I've arrived at the place, and they've given me this form to fill in. And I'll show you what one of the questions says. Have you ever been told that you should not give blood? That really made me laugh. Should I tick yes or no? Do elders count? Okay, so bad news. I'm just leaving the clinic now, and I wasn't able to donate blood. In fact, they said that I'm not able to donate blood ever. Which is, I'm laughing, but I'm really disappointed. I really, really wanted to do this. But they explained to me the reason why, and I do understand. You know, personally, I think it would be safe, but I do understand the reason why. And the reason why is a very, very long story. So I hope I won't bore you too much with it, but I should really explain. So back in 2009, I was still a Jehovah's Witness then, living with my family, my wife at the time, and 4 children. So 2009, I was at work and I was feeling really, really tired because I'd been working really hard that particular week, and I'd had some, all-nighters working on various projects for my side hustle. So I was really, really tired and sleep deprived. So I was at work and just wasn't feeling it. Decided to leave early. So I left early and got home and went straight to bed. Not bed in my room, I just crashed out on the sofa. And while I was asleep, my face went, the muscles in my face started spasming. And my jaw shut tight like this, like lockjaw. And my facial muscles went so stiff it actually woke me up out of my sleep. So I woke up and I was like that. It's not funny, but I was literally like that and I couldn't do anything about it. And I was absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified. I thought I was having a stroke or something. So after a couple of minutes, it stopped. My muscles relaxed. I was able to open my jaw and speak. But then immediately after that, literally as soon as everything went back to normal, my left arm just went like this by itself. And every few seconds, my arm would just jump by itself. And it just didn't stop. It just kept on doing that. So after about a week, I went to the doctor because I'd recently had an operation, a minor surgery, and I'd got an infection as a result of the minor surgery. So the doctor prescribed me some medication to clear up the infection. So I thought that all of this was a reaction to the medicine, because I couldn't think of anything else that would be causing any of this. So went back to the GP and told him what had happened. And they said there's absolutely no way the medication we gave you would cause any of those kind of symptoms. So I was like, fair enough. So he referred me to a neurologist. So while I was waiting for my appointment with the neurologist, my symptoms just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I'm telling you, if I gave you the whole long list of symptoms that I had, it would sound crazy. So there were times where I'd wake up and I'd be paralyzed all down one side of my body, usually the left side. So I'd be completely paralyzed down my left side. Literally the left side of my face would hang down. Not able to walk. There were times where I would literally lose my voice. Not lose your voice like when you've got a throat infection and you lose your voice. I'd literally lose the ability to speak. It's called aphasia. So I'd be trying to speak and I know what words I want to say, but the words just won't come out. I had that. I won't bore you with all the symptoms, but there was one other symptom that was really, really weird. And from my research, it's called alien limb phenomena. So, sorry, not phantom limb or alien limb? Alien limb, not phantom limb. So phantom limb is when when an amputee still feels their limb like it's still there when it's not. I had the opposite of that, kind of. So I had a really, really deep feeling that my left arm wasn't mine. It literally didn't feel like it belonged to me. It was like it was foreign. And it was very, very distressing because I started becoming disgusted with it. I felt like it shouldn't be there. There were times where I literally felt like I wanted it to be amputated because I didn't believe it was mine. Very, very strange. I know it sounds really weird, but at the time, I was 100% convinced that I should not have it. So, and the spasms with my arm, like jumping all the time, that continued on. So, I got my appointment with the neurologist. And they gave me a whole battery of tests, all sorts of tests, over a period of weeks. And they came back to me and they said, based on all of your symptoms, we can give you a diagnosis, but it's not a confirmed diagnosis because we can't test for it. They said the only way to test for what we think it is would literally be to slice your brain open, which we can't do because that would kill you. So the only people who have ever had a confirmed diagnosis of this disease have already been dead, and they confirm it during the autopsy. So they said, what we think you have is a disease called CBD. Nothing to do with the oil, but it stands for, if I remember rightly, corticobasal degeneration. So there's a part of your brain, deep inside your brain, called the basal ganglia. And basically that was breaking down. The cells in the basal ganglia were literally degenerating. And they say what causes it is the build-up of this certain protein that your body can't metabolize. And then it just causes that part of the brain to break down. So I was literally losing brain cells. And it's similar to Parkinson's disease. And yeah, there's no therapy or anything, and the prognosis is 8 years. So this was in 2009. I was basically given 8 years to live in 2009. So obviously it's more than 8 years since then and I'm still here. And I'll explain why that is, or why I think that is. So I spent the next 4 years thinking that I was going to die around about 2017. But yeah, obviously that didn't happen. So after I got that diagnosis, they call it a differential diagnosis because they can't test it to confirm it. So after I got that differential diagnosis, I said to myself, well, if I've only got 8 years left, before I get to the stage where someone's going to have to be changing my nappy for me, I want to be as fit, strong and healthy as I possibly can. So I embarked on a fitness regime. I mean, I'd always been into health and fitness since I was about 15. I started bodybuilding when I was about 15, lifting weights, got absolutely huge. But then as I got older, I decided that I just didn't want to look like the Hulk. I just wanted to be healthy and fit. But after getting this diagnosis, I said, I don't just want to be healthy and fit, I want to be healthy and super fit. So I changed the way I exercised. I still lifted weights, but I wasn't lifting weights to gain size. I was lifting weights just to be strong. And I did a lot of cardio and endurance exercises and stuff like that. And I stumbled across intermittent fasting as a way to, lose body fat. So I started doing that. And it really, really worked. I still do it now, actually. In fact, I mentioned before that I've got a second YouTube channel. That's what my second YouTube channel is about, really. It's about fasting and exercise. So I started intermittent fasting and lost a lot of body fat, got a lot leaner, started looking a lot better. People were always telling me that I was, how do you look so young? You look younger than when I saw you 5 years ago, which was nice. But I noticed that my symptoms started to reduce. My symptoms started reducing. Now, I never immediately made the link And oh, quick disclaimer, I'm not giving medical advice. This video is by no means medical advice. I'm just telling you about my experience, which is 100% anecdotal. Please don't take this as being scientific facts. This is just anecdotal evidence. So yeah, my symptoms started to reduce. I never made the connection. I mean, I was taking all sorts of remedies and stuff that I may have attributed it to that at the time, but in all honesty, looking back now, I don't think that they made any difference whatsoever. But when I got really into fasting and started researching it, I discovered that there's a lot of evidence, nothing conclusive. I want to stress that, nothing conclusive, but there is evidence to suggest that fasting can actually regenerate dead brain cells. I believe they're doing trials of treating Alzheimer's patients with fasting, and it's shown, some kind of promise. This was a while back now. I don't know if they're still doing that or what the result was, but that's what my research showed me. Fasting has all sorts of benefits for the cells in your body, and it seems to be that that includes even the brain cells. Now again, I'll stress that this is purely anecdotal. I'm not a scientist or a doctor, and this hasn't been tested in any kind of medical or scientific way, but my symptoms did reduce when they shouldn't have. I mean, what they believed I had was a degenerative disease, and degenerative diseases don't get better, they only get worse. So after about 4 years, I woke up one morning, I was feeling very ill. I was having muscle weakness on my left side, which I still used to get from time to time, but it was nowhere near as bad as when it first started. So I went to the hospital, and they said, at this stage you should be a lot worse than you are now. So they felt that their diagnosis was wrong. They thought that what I had must have been something different, because if I did have CBD, I'm so sorry about the traffic noise. They said if I did have CBD, there's no way that I would be in as good a condition as I was when I presented to them after 4 years. That's so, in their minds, their diagnosis was wrong. But me, personally, I think the diagnosis was right, but intermittent fasting reversed it. But like I said, I'm not a doctor or a scientist. This is just an anecdotal experience. I can't say that with 100% certainty because it hasn't been tested scientifically, but that's what I believe happened in my case, in my own particular case. Anyway, so while I was at the clinic just now filling in that questionnaire, there was a question that said, have you ever been treated for a very serious illness? So me answering the question honestly, I said yes. So that flagged up an interview. They had to, screen me before they approved my donation. And they said that I can't donate blood because of that illness that I had back in 2009. And I will never be able to. She did go on to explain that with any kind of brain illnesses, when you give blood, you can sometimes, trigger it because, your blood supply is reduced, which makes sense, and they said it can cause you to become unwell. So that's why, as a safety precaution, I couldn't give blood. Now, I'm pretty sure that if I was to give blood, I'd be fine. I've had blood drawn for blood tests many times since then. I'm sure not in the same amount, not in the same volume that would be required for an actual blood donation, but I'm sure I'd be fine. But they've got ear on the side of caution, and I completely understand that. Yeah, so no hard feelings, but I am very, very disappointed that I couldn't do this. Yeah, I am very disappointed, but that's life. At least I tried. At least I tried. But there are many, many more ways that a person, particularly an ExJW person, can contribute to the well-being of their fellow human beings, you know, in addition to giving blood. So yeah, there are lots of options out there that I can explore. This was only one of them. So in my quest to become a better person after leaving the high control religion of Jehovah's Witnesses, this is just a minor setback.
Just keep it up there. Like if they ever come near it.
So that's it really. I hope I haven't bored you with that long story. And I'm just on my way back home now. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe with notifications so that you keep up with my latest videos. And thank you for joining me on this journey of my Jucket list. There'll be many, many more items for me to check off that list in the near future. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching to the very end of the video. If you haven't already done so, please like, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. If you like my work and want to help me continue doing it, please support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Jexit_2020. And with that, I'd like to sincerely thank these very special patrons who make these videos possible.